Today's first video for you is firstly PM Abiy last night hosted an iftar dinner for evacuees from Saudi Arabia. Ethiopians are being evacuated by Ethiopian authorities from Saudi Arabia, and PM Abiy hosted some of them yesterday. Secondly, we have a new story about financial grant to Ethiopia by World Bank. In a previous video, I reported about 300 million US dollar grant to Ethiopia by World Bank. Announcement has been made, but it is being opposed. This grant is being opposed. Some international players are opposing this grant. Ethiopia has not received this grant. World Bank has just approved this grant. Who is opposing this grant to Ethiopia? Thirdly, viewers, some elements who sympathize with the Oromo Liberation Army, reportedly they are closing key roads in some parts of Oromia, especially in West Shewa zone of Oromia. We have some pictures for you. The roads are being closed to stop or to slow down the movement of government forces. And lastly, viewers, a Tigray-backed news source is claiming that Eritrean government has decided to put Eritrean military on high alert, especially close to Tigray. Two top-level meetings have been held in the last 1 to 2 weeks, and some key decisions have been made. We'll have a look at this news story, which decisions have been made in the two alleged meetings of top Eritrean defense officials. Firstly, viewers, Ethiopians are being repatriated from Saudi Arabia. We know that on daily basis, hundreds of Ethiopians are returning to Ethiopia from Saudi Arabia, who have been imprisoned there for months. We saw diplomatic engagements between Ethiopian and Saudi Arabian governments over the past almost 6 months. Then progress was made, and on daily basis, these Ethiopians who were in prison in Saudi Arabia, they are returning to Ethiopia. And PM Abiy last night hosted some of them for an iftar dinner. Around 250 returnees from Saudi Arabia were hosted, Muslims. And you can see PM Abiy hosting these Muslim returnees from Saudi Arabia at an iftar dinner. Now, question viewers is that there are around 100,000 Ethiopians in Saudi Arabia. Now, question viewers is how will Ethiopian government look after these tens of thousands of Ethiopians returning from Saudi Arabia? Already millions of people in Ethiopia are in dire need of aid. So around 100,000 are arriving gradually. Will they be given shelter, food, all the basic necessities? Let's see. Secondly, viewers, in a previous video, we reported about a grant for Ethiopia by World Bank. 300 million US dollars will be given to Ethiopian government as financial assistance, not as loan, but as grant. Decision has been made by World Bank. It has been approved, but not given to Ethiopia so far. Now, this move is being opposed by some members of international community, some organizations like European Union has openly opposed it. European Union's spokesperson has spoken with some news sources, and he says that it's premature. The truce announced should strengthen first It should be strengthened first, and then after that such measures should be taken. And European Union is raising questions about the use of this grant too, that this grant will be used through Ministry of Commerce of Ethiopia, Ministry of Finance of Ethiopia. So EU says that this funding should not be directly used by Ethiopian Ministry of Finance. And it's too early to give this assistance to Ethiopia. If you remember, EU has already suspended its assistance to Ethiopia. It suspended last year. Last year, EU announced to suspend aid to Ethiopia. The US has also suspended its assistance to Ethiopia. And Gregory Meeks, who is US representative, member of House's Foreign Affairs Committee, has also opposed this move. He says that it's premature, that this assistance should be provided to Ethiopian government. Let's see, will the World Bank now press ahead with actually giving this money to Ethiopia? Or will it come under pressure from the EU and from the US as well to change its decision? Thirdly, viewers, we have a new story from the Oromia region of Ethiopia, where a military campaign against Oromo Liberation Army is underway. Some roads are being closed. We have learned from some sources, we have seen some pictures, videos as well, that in some places roads were closed to government forces. Government forces were stopped from moving. Why? Where were the roads closed? Mostly it happened in West Shewa zone of Oromia, to the west of the capital Addis Ababa. And we know that in West Shewa there is considerable presence of Oromo Liberation Army. We have been updating you about Abuna Gindabarad, Jeldo, Shinnan, Ajare, and other places in West Shewa where there was presence of Oromo Liberation Army. At least in two places roads were closed. Firstly, what we have heard is that Mide Kagan Goban road was closed. Secondly, Gado Chalia road was closed. Thirdly, Vayo Mid Kenya road was closed. Who closed it? Some say that roads were closed by those elements who support Oromo Liberation Army. Locals or the sympathizers of Oromo Liberation Army, they closed it. OLA might have closed them itself as well, that in order to stop government forces from pursuing OLA, OLA might have closed them as well. You can see some pictures on your screen. The pictures are from West Shewa zone of Oromia, where roads are being closed to stop the movement of government forces to fight Oromo Liberation Army. Lastly, viewers, a Tigray-backed news source has made some claims about mobilization of Eritrean military on Tigray border. The news source says that in the last around 1 to 2 weeks, 2 top-level meetings of Eritrean military officials were held. One in Asmara was held, and some key decisions have been made in the 2 meetings. Firstly, it was decided to deploy more troops to Tigray, where there is presence of Eritrean army in some parts. Secondly, it was decided that all Eritrean military be deployed to Tigray borders, and law and order, other responsibilities should be handled by police and former members of Eritrean military. So internal security is being handed over to police and former members of Eritrean military, and Eritrean military members, they are being sent to border areas, Tigray border. And thirdly, it was decided that the military deployments on Tigray border, they should be put on high alert. Eritrean military on Tigray border is being put on high alert. That is being claimed by this news source. Fourthly, Eritrea-Amhara military cooperation. It is being claimed by this news source that several top Amhara officials have visited Eritrea and their military alliance is strengthening. Now, obviously, it's a Tigray news source backed report. So, and you know that Eritrea does not make its plans public. They don't speak about what they are doing. Can we say that there could be an armed escalation between Tigray and Eritrea without the participation of Ethiopian government? Well, a conspiracy theory is being shared by some analysts, and they say that Eritrea, in alliance with some elements in the Amhara region and perhaps in the Afar region as well, is planning a major offensive on Tigray without the involvement of Ethiopian military. Again, a conspiracy theory, I would say. Several viewers shared it with me as well. They said, Sajid, why aren't you speaking about that? I am not speaking because I don't have any reliable information that Eritrea, Amhara, Afar are teaming up to attack Tigray. I have no such credible information. If something is happening, it's not that we can confirm. That is why I did not speak about that. The deployments of Eritrean military on Tigray border could be defensive as well. There is ongoing tension between Tigray and Eritrea. There is no doubt about that. Ethiopia-Tigray tensions are coming to a close gradually, you can say. Talks were held, indirect talks, then we heard of some contact between ENDF and TDF generals as well, some meetings too. So, tension is coming to a close gradually, military tension. But there is no sign of any de-escalation between Tigray and Eritrea because there is no diplomatic engagement, no talks between Tigray and Eritrea. So, unless in order for de-escalation, there must be some engagement, some talks, which is not happening between Tigray and Eritrea. That is why tensions are there. Yes, things could turn into some armed escalation.